So okay, so I'm seeing the trend here. You building loops by C Dub. It pops. It does your thing. It frees you from that. You go into hoop triggers, and that scales even crazier. Okay, so the next thing I want to kind of segment into is this transition from being a church musician.
Ah,
Changing the generation. Bishop Morton killing the game because you
right.
was there for how long?
5 years.
5 years, man. So 5 years of your life spent, building that, and then you all of a sudden say, "Yeah, I'm no longer doing the church
Yeah.
musician thing. Going to push into the businesses full time."
Right.
What was the motivation behind that decision? What what
Uh,
what brought you there?
well, let's see. To be honest, it was a 2 year decision.
Really?
I was already thinking about it 2 years before, but it just I don't know. I've been doing this since I was 5. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I've been playing in church every Sunday. I tell people, I promise you, I've been to more church services than anybody.
Oh
Like
yeah.
my dad would run 3 month revivals straight. You know what I'm saying? Every day. Like
Jeez.
it'd be 1 month. It'd start off with 1 month, but then the Holy Spirit said another month at the end of the month. Then we have to bring the chairs back out there. And it was a tent revival too.
Another month.
Yeah. He said, keep going. Like, so I didn't heard, I didn't been to more church services, heard more sermons.
Bruh.
Like, so this is my life. Like, this is like my identity. And it
Mm-hmm.
was just
Mm-hmm.
hard to let it go.
Mm-hmm.
So every year at the end of the year, I'd be like, is this my last watch night service? No, we're gonna do one more. We're gonna keep going.
Yeah.
And so finally in 2019, it was in November. I decided to leave in November. Not
Wow.
even not even December. I left in November. And I think the thing that did it for me was I hired my brother to work for me.
Yeah.
And when I realized I was paying him more than what I was making at church, I said, you know what?
Wow.
If he can leave his job to work for me, I need to leave my job to work for me. That's what made me
Wow.
leave. I said I have to put my all into this, you know. And I never forget. I was so nervous about calling Bishop. I was, even though Bishop is cool, he ain't up. Bishop is
Yeah.
the coolest pastor I've ever played for.
Yeah.
And I called him up. I was nervous, and I said, Bishop, I just want to let you know, that I got 30 days and I got to move on and do. He's like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, man, son, I know, I already knew it was gonna happen. The same thing happened with PJ. He had to do his own thing, and I
Wow.
knew it was coming. He gave me the blessings, man, and I mean, it was just like a relief, man.
Wow.
But man, that's when it really started taking off for me though, because I was able to
Yeah.
really concentrate all my time
Mm-hmm.
into helping everybody's music ministry. You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying?
Exactly.
And so yeah,
I
man, it
I
was
identify with that because again, like going back to the beginning of it, you have been like a big inspiration in my career as well, and as I built my businesses, it's almost like you trailblazing the path, and I'm walking right behind in the path because you walked out in 2019, 2020 I was out the same,
man.
like
I was so
literally.
happy for you when you did that. I was like, I know what's going on.
Because you know the
Yeah,
vibe, because
yeah,
there's this tension that
yeah,
happens, and I don't think a lot of people talk about it. I've been talking with my I'll tell you another person that's been like, because it's again like you said it before when you were talking about you know blazing paths, like people helping each other, all of those different things like that, but like how it keeps reciprocating itself,
yeah.
basically. The
Mm-hmm.
path keeps reciprocating itself. So I've been talking with like Jan Hunter Jr., and Jan
Yep.
is literally like right on my like heels. He
Yep.
like I
Uh-huh.
walked away, and then a few months he was like, you know what, Rev, boom, I walk away.
Yeah.
This dude walked away from church as well. Now, I'll talk about mine, then I'll talk about his. So I walked away, and 2020 was
Mm-hmm.
the best year my business, like like
Yeah.
period. Like I had never made so much money
Mm-hmm.
in my businesses until I walked away, because like I said, there's this
Yeah.
tension that's there when you're there, because you got the business pulling on you.
Yeah.
You got life outside of life, you got business pulling on you, and it's like it's something that's pulling and saying like, if you would just give me more attention, like
Yeah.
Telling you, like, we can really do this thing. I know you got, but see, you get into the groove of working something. I gotta stop, gotta learn this song. Gotta
Right.
gotta go to rehearsal tonight. Oh, like you said,
Yep.
we got a revival this week. That's the
Yep.
whole week gone. That's you're not gonna be able to do anything. But it's like when you're able to like step out and work for yourself and dig into it, dig your heels into it. It's that's when you
Yeah.
really start to see the expanding of it. So yeah, it was that same tension, man. Like it was like all of 2019, like
Yeah.
it was just pulling on me. Like I got to a point where it's like I would be playing at church and it would be grieving my spirit.
Man,
I would just be like, I would walk away from church feeling
they don't
worse.
want to hear this.
I walk away from church, bro, feeling worse than I did when I came in the door. And there's so many other aspects, and y'all can go check out my Facebook post to kind of see all of that. But it was just that tension that was just pulling me because I told somebody this. I was like, yo, the military, they only allow soldiers to work for 20 years, like that, and then they make them retire. They have to retire after 20 years. But we're as church musicians, we're like the only in any other field. If you go to any other field, not even just the military, like most people, they'll work about 20, 30 years in a field and then they retire. Right. You expect it to retire by that time. You know what I mean? But there's something about it, about as a church musician, there's this weird tension there that's like always pulling us to say, like, basically, you got to this is your whole life from birth. I know cats that's been playing since they 2 years old. I started late. I started at like 9. So I felt like I was late in the game starting that late. But you know what I'm saying? That's still like 30 plus years of my life almost 30 years of my life being dedicated to be a church musician. You know what I mean? So you kind of have to, follow. So if you're feeling that tension, it might be time for you to kind of, follow what you feel.
I think mine wasn't really tension on that like that. Okay. Mine was more like I didn't want to let it go.
Oh no, me either. Yeah,
I'm over here traveling with Bishop Morton. We going to these 5-star hotels.
Well, now, that's a different vibe.
We riding in Bentleys and
that is a different
limos,
vibe. That's
all
a
that kind
vibe.
of stuff. And it's not like I'm not no flash.
No. I know what you're saying.
It was just the experience, man. Like I get to ride around with the founder of the Full Gospel. Yeah, like we chilling, talking in the back seat.
That's
true. Know what I'm saying? I'm in these churches and I'm meeting these pastors I never would ever get to go in the back and eat with and meet people. And it's just the networking and the connections and stuff. Yeah. It's like, man, I don't want to leave. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that is a different vibe. That's a different vibe.
It was interesting, man.
Yeah, no, I wasn't in no 5-star hotels or Bentleys or anything like that. I was just playing "How Great Is Our God" by Tyler Galbraith on Sundays, and Travis Green every other day. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't nothing like that going on. So it was. I think it was a lot easier for me to just kind of be like, I can kind of let this go. But I think
I do want to say.
Go ahead. No. Go ahead.
No, I just want to say I don't want people to think that we knocking playing for church because that's not what we're doing.
Nah,
you don't understand. We did this for a long time, y'all.
Exactly,
a long time, and the minds that we have and the stuff that goes through our head and the stuff we want to do, it's gonna weigh on you when you can't do it. It's just like you're not aligning your life with what you really want.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And so no matter what you're doing, if it's not what you want to do, it's gonna feel bad at some point. And
exactly.
You got to learn when to let it go. That's all it really
does. And passion will pull you. I think that's the big thing. Passion will pull you. It'll pull you. It's gonna always be nagging you. It's gonna always be pulling on you because I think that was the biggest thing for me. Like I said, it's not that you like you say you knock in church, but I think there comes a point where, especially if you're business minded, especially if you're an entrepreneur and you want to build business, you want to scale. Right. It's something and that's why I never dealt well working 9-to-5 jobs because I was always trying to. It was
Tell me about it.
Like I'll be like, yo, like,
what am I doing here?
What am I doing here? Like what more could I be doing with this time? And what you don't understand that it takes up mental space. Like, even though you're not you may be the musician or the church musician that's, there, 2-3 times out of the week. It's in sense on paper, it's really a part-time job. You may be making full-time money. Some of you, depending on where you play and what you make, you may be making full-time money, but on paper, the hours that you put in, whether it's practice and rehearsals and even on Sunday morning, on paper, it's a part-time job. If you're working less than 30 hours a week, it's a part-time job, and some of us work full-time. I know all of the variables are different, the types of, church musician that's out there, and what you play. Some of you worship pastors.
Working.
Yeah.
Full-time.
Y'all was going. Y'all was traveling and doing all of that stuff. So like I said, the dynamics are different for everybody, but either way it goes, it takes the mental space that it takes up. And it was something about when I freed up that mental space, that that church was taking up.
Yeah.
When I walked away from playing at church, that those first 2 months of 2020, I made more money in those first 2 months than I would have made the entire year playing for the church.
See,
in two
like that, man.
Nah.
Teach me your way.
No, whatever, man. I'm blazing your path. Again, I'm blazing your path. So again, we're not trashing playing for church. I don't want to bash it up, because if that's where you are, if that's what God has you, if that's what you got to do that. But I'm talking to a specific type of person. There's somebody that's listening to us talk about this, that's sitting on the edge of their seat right now going like, yes. Right. Yes, like it's resonating with your spirit, everything that we're saying, and you're saying like it's a key. That's who I'm talking to. If you're feeling that, that's the person that we're talking about. If God's got you in a ministry and you're serving there and you're faithful there and you're happy there and you're enjoying that, keep vibing there, keep doing that, keep building that, keep serving in that ministry. Because I'll say this: all of my 6-figure skills that I gained were gained in serving in ministry.
Yep.
Every skill, from video editing to mixing audio to production to, creating tracks, doing all of these things, all of those skills were garnered and cultivated in church and from serving in ministry. I would not be where I was if I did not serve faithfully in ministry and learn how to connect with a pastor's vision and figure out how I can fill those gaps and fill those needs, because that's all it was. I learned how to edit video. I learned how to use Final Cut. I learned how to work a camera. I learned about ISOs and white balance and exposure, and those skills that I learned just filming the sermon, trying to help my pastor, going back to how C-Dub did with his dad, just trying to help out my church and, film the conference, set up a couple of cameras in some places and film it, and go back and edit the video and mix the audio and put it all together. Those little skills that I garnered trying to figure those things out and learn them ended up turning into me creating a masterclass business where I sell masterclasses, and I'm able to go out, use those skills, record video with these other producers, bring it back, put it in Final Cut, edit it together. Same thing with my YouTube videos. All of those skills were garnered serving in ministry. So if you're serving in ministry, keep serving in ministry, keep learning, keep growing. But if you're if you feel like you're at the end of your tenure, and you got some other business things and some other passions that's pulling on you, that's pulling on you, saying like, I need your time. Push after that, press into that. I think that's the stage, the place where I'm in.